Drive 615. Let's go for a drive. This is the 2021 Ford Mustang Mach 1 Premium. I've had this American muscle car for the past week, during which I've been daily driving it and experiencing all that it has to offer. As always, we'll take a look at the exterior, the interior, then we'll go out and take it for a drive. The exterior color of this vehicle is Jet Fighter Gray. Now this gray is very similar to the Cactus Gray you guys saw on the Bronco, so it'd be cool to have both of those in the garage. Total MSRP as tested, $59,390. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at the exterior. Up front on the hood here, you can tell we've got part of the Mach 1 appearance package that gives you these decal through here and some other decals throughout the rest of the vehicle. I prefer to have the color red if possible. I tried to build it this morning where I put red pinstriping on it. You can't do that with this particular color spec. This is the only option and combination that you can do. Here on the hood, you've got some vents that from this angle, they look closed, but when you look from here, you can actually see down in through there. Up front here on the grille, we've got the redesigned front end. You'll notice that we've got these little bits here, and this is kind of a legacy to the original Mach 1 where you had some headlamps. Now, I think that would have been a cool option to either put actual headlamps here. Of course, we got the LED lights over here, or instead of having this solid, open this up and allow some extra airflow. Of course, you got airflow through the grille here and down through here, but it wouldn't hurt to have a little bit extra through here. But I'm sure there's some reasoning behind doing this. But it gives it kind of a cool look, but I'd like to have a little bit more functionality if possible. I like the front splitter down through here. It's aggressive, but not too aggressive and in your face. Overall, it gives a pretty cool front end on the look of this vehicle. Let's go ahead and take a look at the profile. Let's just take a moment to appreciate the overall stance of this Mustang. I've always been a big fan of Mustangs, the look of them, but this one in particular just looks so good from the profile. It's got a real good, meaty and aggressive stance, front to rear, and just sits perfectly. It's not hiked up in the rear or too high in the front. It just overall looks really great. Up here, we've got the Mach 1 badging. That's kind of in the original font from the one back in 1969. As you work our way down through here, you'll see you've got more of that appearance package, which kind of ties in the vehicle. And I think that lowers it down a little bit, having this black through here, and especially this little bit right here, kind of makes the front end look a little bit lower, which kind of gives it a more aggressive stance as well. We're sitting on 19-inch magnetic aluminum wheels all the way around, 255s in the front, 275s in the rear. Speaking of, let's go ahead and take a look back there. Here at the rear, we've got our Blade deck lid spoiler, finished off in magnetic, just like the wheels. You can opt for the larger spoiler with the gurney flaps, like on the GT500. I think this particular vehicle looks better with this though, but there's options for you if you'd like to upgrade to the bigger spoiler. Got our very crisp and clean LED tail lamps. We got the Mach 1 badging here in the center. I think that looks good. The size of it's kind of perfect for this car. If it was any bigger, it might look just too overbearing, and if it was any smaller, it might not really let you know what the vehicle is. We'll work our way down through here to where the magic happens. We've got our active valve performance exhaust, 4.5-inch tips, 2 on both sides. It's integrated perfectly into this rear diffuser. I love the rear diffuser on this vehicle. Just ties together perfectly. We've got our little center light through here. Let's go ahead and take a listen to this exhaust before we hop inside. I think that exhaust sounds great, very deep, very throaty, that all-American muscle, and especially when you're accelerating, not just, you know, in park, it really sounds good, really getting on the throttle. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trunk space before we hop inside. Rear-mounted backup camera here. You can push on this or use a key fob or the button on the inside to open up the trunk. Now, it won't automatically open, so you will have to manually lift it through there. 13.5 cubic feet of trunk space, and you can fold down both rear seats to gain access to the inside of the vehicle. Very simple back here, just flat storage space. We do have the upgraded sound system in this vehicle, the B&O sound system, and there's a big subwoofer back here. Now, there's no way to automatically close the rear trunk, so you will have to put your hands somewhere on it. I ended up putting my fingers right here, But when it's down, then you got some nice fingerprints on the gloss black through there. So just something to keep in mind. You'll want to keep a microfiber towel handy so you can keep this car looking clean. Let's go and hop inside. Starting out with the door panel, very simple. Got a hard kind of plastic material up here, leather through there, contrasting stitching, perforation through there. A little bit of a storage cubby right down through here. And my favorite part is going to be this, the door sill with the Mach 1 emblem and this checkered flag logo through there, and this will illuminate in whatever color you have the ambient lighting. And as you can see down through there on the aluminum pedals, we've got it in blue, and it also light up here in the door handle. Let's go ahead and hop inside and take a look around in there. As always, I'm not going to go over everything with this vehicle on the interior, but I will hit some of the highlights of what I like and what I don't like. I mentioned this in the Bronco video. I think this is maybe a missed opportunity. They could have had some kind of badging down through here to indicate that this is the Mach 1. You've got it up here, of course, and this is an option, and it shows the chassis number. So we got M0038. So I'm assuming this is the 38th vehicle off the line, which is really cool. Very, very early production for this vehicle, and that's just nice to see and kind of, you know, own your vehicle and know what number you are off the line. I'll go ahead and fire it up, put on the brake, push to start. Now, I've been in and out of dozens of vehicles throughout the year, so I never really get perfectly used to a car in the week that I have it. I kept pushing this every single time I get in the car because I'm used to the start stop button being a bit higher up or over here, or just obviously using a key. But on these push to starts, I kept pushing the volumes. That just took a while to get used to because it's the biggest one here and you just naturally gravitate towards that, or at least I did. We'll go ahead and fire it up. This thing roars to life. You get the little Mustang emblem through there, and you get the pony through there with the blue, and it's kind of pulsating through as you see there. I'll give it a couple revs. Let's go ahead and hit the pony there. Actually, we need to press OK and shut the door. Then we'll press that. We'll go to exhaust mode. We'll get it over in, let's go with sport. I'll open that back up and let you guys hear this. This thing is rowdy when you're on the inside. That is crazy. I love the sound of this thing, both from the inside and the outside. So let's go ahead and take a look down here. Now this touchscreen is not as big and crisp. It's responsive, but I've been in the Bronco and the F-150 for the past couple weeks, and they've got that big 12-inch display screen through there, so that's what I've been used to. So coming from those into this has been a little bit of change of pace. Now you do get the fully digital gauge cluster, and that's a 12-inch display located through here, so I have enjoyed that. You've got 2 gauges up here that are illuminated as well. And again, I do like that Mach 1 badging through there. Just typical through there. Nothing too special on the Mach 1 version. We do have the upgraded B&O sound system, 12-speaker sound system. We've got a CD player located through here. Now, I will touch on this. I think this is kind of interesting. I like how the hazards, you flip that up and it locks into place and you know that it's locked in. You flip this up and it flips right back down to let you know that traction control is on or off. I'd like if it was like locked into place for on and then down for off, just like this. And I will say I'm a very tactile person, so these are kind of a little bit sharp. I mean, I know it's like not a huge thing, it's gonna be like that on all of them, but I almost would prefer maybe if these were a little bit more rounded off, so when you're doing quick, you know, switches and whatnot, there's no issue. Now this has been the biggest complaint for me. This goes up, but it doesn't go down. So you cycle through your mode, so we're in normal, my mode, sport plus, and goes over to track. Now let's say I want to go back down into sport plus after being in track. Well, it's kind of too bad. You got to go all the way back through. There's no way to go down. So that's just something to keep in mind, that if you missed your stop, you got to get back in line and go all the way through. At least I couldn't find a way when I was testing it out. That's just what I had to deal with. Let's talk about comfortability. I'm 6'5" tall, for everyone that knows. I've got a couple inches of headroom, which is nice. These seats are extremely comfortable. Really, really nice. It'd be great for a road trip, or great when you're out on the track. It just really keeps you in place nicely. We got the two-tone ebony with the orange accents that match the accents on the outside of the vehicle. Rear seats in this vehicle, but there's literally no room. I mean, this seat is back and I can barely get my hand down through there. So you know, if you wanted to have passengers, you'd really have to move up these front seats to accommodate. But back there, I mean, that nice leather through there, you don't get the orange accents or anything, but you do get the contrasting stitching as well. So that's just pretty cool that they did continue that continuation through there. They could have kind of skimped out back here and just made this all black, but they did give you contrasting. I would have liked to have seen, though, maybe a little bit of orange accenting through here, or some kind of embossment on the headrest, but nevertheless, that may be wishful thinking on my part. Legroom is great. Again, I got real long legs, and I'm very, very comfortable in this vehicle. No issues at all. So let's go ahead and take it for a drive. Behind the wheel and on the road in the Mach 1, what are we working with underneath the hood? That's a 5-liter V8 producing 480 horsepower, 420 pound-foot of torque. We do have the 10-speed automatic transmission. However, you can get this in a 6-speed manual. But I'll tell you, this thing drives like a manual, I feel. Sometimes I'm like looking down and making sure I'm not accidentally in the manual. I mean, it's the weirdest thing ever. It's just, I cannot put words to how this car drives. I've been driving it for the past week, and it's taken me all week to figure out how to explain this. Normally I get in a car and I get a real good feel for it real quick. This is one of those cars that's like tough, and it's hard to find the sweet spot on it. This is the hardest car out of every car I've ever driven to find, like, you know, the sweet spot that makes the car happy, where you can get, you know, right in the power band and hear the best exhaust and the best shifts. It's not like, for me at least, I couldn't just hop in it and just all of a sudden start driving it. I kind of had to like really get used to it, find the right modes, and to figure out what worked best. And for me, that was popping it into S, changing the drive mode into Sport Plus, and then using the paddle shifter. So right now we're gonna downshift into 3, 2. That's a aggressive downshift. That's probably one of the most aggressive downshifting cars I've ever driven too, because not only does it like downshift from the exhaust perspective, you hear it there, but it really like pulls you in, and the front will kind of dip down, and it really puts you back in your seat. It's been a fun car to drive, like I said, but it's definitely taking a lot of getting used to. So now we're in first. Broke loose. That whole time I was on the acceleration, that back was really settling in, and you could really just feel the power. Again, it's not like a crazy horsepower number car, but it's enough to get the job done. And the way that they've engineered this, 480 feels a lot faster than 480 in my opinion. This feels like more in the 550 to 600 range, which puts it well over what a GT350 would be. Now, I've not driven a GT350 yet, so I can't necessarily compare, but that's got about 530 horsepower, and of course that's only offered in the manual. But this thing will break loose so easily, so you gotta be really careful when you're getting on it. But as long as you're accelerating in a straight line, you should have no issue. I can't get over these downshifts, I'm telling you. When you downshift, let's say we're in third now, into second, it's gonna like put your head back in the seat. That exhaust sounds great. Right now we're in sport on the exhaust. You got the Valvetronic exhaust where you can change it. You hit the Mustang logo and go to exhaust mode. You can also put it in track, and that's for track use, and then it says C manual. I mainly just had it in sport this whole time. This vehicle is equipped with the MagneRide dampening system, and you can definitely feel that when you're out on the road. I mean, this thing would be amazing on the track. It handles incredibly through corners. I really just feel like very planted and grounded. This is a big car, so you definitely feel like you're not gonna get too squirrely. Come through the corners like we are right here. Oh my gosh. I am, it puts a smile on your face for sure. I've been in Fords all month. They started me off with the Bronco. That was really fun from like the off-road perspective. Then I went to the F-150. That was just very practical, and then this is just very fun, and it really just makes you want to drive fast. You got to be careful though. You don't want to get any speeding tickets or endanger anyone. But that was from, okay, so shifting from second to third, then it broke loose a little bit. Got a little bit of wheel slip, and I wasn't perfectly straight. So again, you gotta be very careful when you're driving this car, for sure. Let's put it over into sport mode, and we'll see how that performs. Okay, so this is there's a lot of play in sport mode versus like Sport Plus or track, where you can kind of blip the accelerator, get some nice revs, but you won't necessarily like get going. That's been kind of fun too. That's what reminds me of the manual, is the fact that you can basically, it's like almost like you're putting the clutch in and revving it because the car's not going anywhere, but just kind of hunkering down a little bit. So okay, I gotta calm down. I tried the line lock earlier and it actually bogged down a little bit for me. I set it up, everything I was supposed to do, and I must have been, maybe I was in Sport Plus, I should have been in track. I only tried it once, but it got going, tires broke loose, but then it kind of bogged out when I was on the way towards releasing. I don't think I hadn't even hit okay yet, and it kind of bogged out, so that was definitely interesting. Into fifth, fourth, third, and when I go to second, it's probably gonna buck me back a little bit, drop a little bit lower. There we go. That was, I caught that. That was definitely an aggressive downshift, at least in the lower gears. Some of the higher ones is not as noticeable. And it's good, it's comfortable. This is, we're riding on 19s all the way around. The ride height of it is not too low, so I'm not terribly worried driving on these natural roads like I would be in a car that's sitting any lower. Thankfully, the front splitter on this sits up a little bit, so ground clearance, you're fine. So all in all, it's been a fun vehicle, and I've enjoyed my time. I've had a blast daily driving this around town on the street. I'd love to take it out on the track. I was unable to do so with this press vehicle, but this thing would be an absolute monster out on the track. There's just so much engineering and performance that goes into this vehicle. It's really going on behind the scenes. We've got the performance enhanced powertrain calibration. We've got the unique tuning on the chassis, independent rear suspension. Coming up here on the brakes, we got the 6-piston front Brembo brakes with the large rotors putting in work. So this thing would just absolutely handle incredibly. We got the MagneRide damping system. There's just like so much. You can look it up on their website, all the different things that come standard and all the different options that you can get. But just driving it as is on the street is extremely comfortable. But then with the flip of a switch, put the mode into track mode and you're track ready, flip it back over, drive home, you know, take it out on date night. Now, you really could not fit anyone in the back seats like I mentioned, but they're there just in case you need to put stuff. You can get the rear seat delete. I'd probably prefer to have the seats just in case you did want to move your seat all the way up if needed. Visibility is good out the side. Side view mirrors are fine. You get a nice view of that little rear wing back there. Visibility out the back is perfect. And over the left shoulder, you do see this B-pillar here, but you get that back window behind that, which is nice, so you do get some visibility out there. If it didn't have that, then you definitely would be hitting a pretty bad blind spot, but thankfully, if you want to do the over-the-shoulder approach, which I always do, you're good to go with that secondary window. I'm coming up right now on a Mustang Mach E, and when I mentioned people I was getting the Mach 1 this week, they were like, oh, cool, the electric one? I'm like, no, that's the Mach E, actually, so that was pretty cool. I like driving up on other Mustangs in this case, because you kind of feel like you got a little special bond with them, or in that case, you know, another Mustang brand. We got a Mustang convertible here, not the 5.0, coming up on a C7 Grand Sport. What is this, a Parade? What's up, man? It's just fun when you're in the same brand vehicle. You feel like you got like a little bit, you know, like when the Jeep people do the Jeep wave. When you're in a Ford, you're like, hey, that's part of my family there. So I do like that. I've always been a big Ford fan, and especially from the performance side. I want to get in the GT500. This has been fun, but my guys over at Ford, when the GT500 comes in, send it my way, because you know I want to do a review on that, and you know I want to do a massive line lock burnout on that thing and to see what it's all about. But I've had fun on this. I've been in a 5.0 previously. This is my first time though in the Mach 1. I've had a good time. I've enjoyed myself. It's been fun. It's got a lot of looks. People love it. I drove it down on Broadway the other night. That's like the main strip here in Nashville, and girls were like, oh my God, I love your car. So be prepared to get some attention, especially in this fighter jet gray. It's a unique color that kind of stands out, and people are definitely gonna like it and notice it for sure. So it's been fun. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them in the comments section below. If you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. I'm gonna leave you with a parting acceleration here. Drop it down. All right, we'll see you guys later.